100%. That is the death statistic worldwide, but we remain silent. Joe didn't wake up for breakfast. He didn't choose to go to sleep, and no one caring for him in the hospital could tell me if they had explained the possibility to him that with the prescribed medication, he might sleep the rest of his life away, a life that he was still very much living. I removed the medication patch that had been put on his arm to control his pain and waited until he woke up. We talked. He told me how his daughters were visiting from Florida, how they wanted him to go back with them. He told me that he was dying and that he didn't want to be a burden to his daughters and their families. A critical care nurse for many years, I thought I knew all there was to know about death and dying. That is, until we were told that Daddy had late-stage cancer. I learned more then about the fragility of life and the living-dying process. 4 days. That's how long my father was in home hospice. 4 days. But he was alert, oriented, and mobile until the night before he died. He slept through that last day, and all of us sat vigil at his bedside. He was our hero, and as we watched him fade away, we sang to him. It was so hard, but it was also such a gift to provide his care and to be with him those last days. Later, after years as a death educator, I was sure I knew everything about death and dying. So sure. That is, until I was diagnosed with cancer. I walked into the admitting area for major surgery to remove the cancer and was handed a package with information on advance directives. Well, I laughed out loud. Here I was, a registered nurse for, at that time, 21 years. I had sat with my dad and mom and spoken to them about advance directives almost 10 years before, when my father was diagnosed with cancer, prompting him to consider how he wanted to live his final days. Yet, I did not have an advance directive. I took a few minutes and completed it, right then and there. You see, advance directives are not about death. Not really. They are more about life and how one wants to live until one dies. But we keep acting like we're going to live forever. We do not talk about it and try hard not to think about it. Ultimately, Joe chose to stay awake. He chose to live. He told his daughters that he would love to move down to Florida and live with one of them. Hospice services were put into place, and he was discharged a few days later. I often wonder what memories would have been lost had I not questioned his sleeping through breakfast.